Ladies and gentlemen, nowadays many people are shopping online more often than visiting markets or supermarkets. Over the past 4 years, Vietnam's e-commerce market has grown at an average 16 to 30%. Last year, the sector crossed the $25 billion mark, fueled by new growth drivers. Projections indicate the market will surpass $31 billion this year. Moving away from traditional retail to focus on e-commerce has proven highly effective. For example, OCOP Vietnam cleaning products made from pineapple waste have reached more consumers through online channel, giving businesses confidence in hitting their annual revenue targets. Marketing campaigns paired with celebrities help spread word about our products, and by working with influencers, we can hit 500 orders in a single session. According to metrics report on the online retail market, the total annual revenue of Vietnam's top e-commerce platform reached over 318,000 billion Vietnam dong by the end of 2024, with a growth rate exceeding 37%. This shows that the consumer demand remains strong, paving the way for continued growth in 2025. However, this growth isn't automatic. Only businesses with careful planning from the start of the year will succeed. For domestic products, secondly is about conveying the value of these products to consumers. From TikTok and TikTok Shop's perspective, we provide extensive training programs to boost the skills of local sellers and manufacturers. To achieve 8% GDP growth, I estimate Vietnam's retail sector will grow at about 12%, while e-commerce is expected to grow at least 24%, effectively doubling that figure.
A growth rate of 20 to 25 or 22%, then the figure of 31 billion is achievable. The development potential of e-commerce remains quite broad, and for that reason, the figure can even exceed that level. In terms of product categories, beauty, home living, and fragrance fashions are the three highest revenue. However, there's a rising trend in groceries and food, which is at a rate up to 76%, the highest among all categories, indicating a clear shift in shopping behavior. The growth of this category also creates many opportunities for local suppliers and helps reduce the long-standing e-commerce gap. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the growth of e-commerce, a paradox exists. The number of shops generating orders has decreased by more than 20%, equivalent to 165,000 shops withdrawing from e-commerce. These figures reflect the increasingly fierce competition in the e-commerce space this year. Although Vietnam's e-commerce sector is experiencing very high growth, there has also been a notable increase in imported goods, with over 320 million products consumed in 2024, generating a revenue up to 40,200 billion Vietnam dong. This story at the beginning of 2025 is that local Vietnamese brand manufacturers not only need to ensure product quality, but also must understand the e-commerce business environment in order to grow their sales. Cosmetics has been dominated by foreign brands through traditional retail distribution. However, with efforts to bring Vietnamese products directly to local consumers, this domestic manufacturer of laundry detergent and dishwashing liquid has positioned its brand as a Vietnamese product using biodegradable natural ingredients that ensure consumers' health. As a result, it is leading the cosmetic category on online channels.
Korean brands are focusing on selling their products through supermarkets and small retail stores. But we will change that by focusing on selling through e-commerce platforms. And by this way, we can deliver products directly from the factory to the customers, help them get the best price. As a sales platform, the solution to help Vietnamese products increase sales and compete with imported goods is to provide ongoing support and training for Vietnamese sellers. This will continue to grow this year. For example, this local OCOP store has been supported by the platform and promoted by a famous KOL. Even though it has been online for 10 months, its sales have grown strongly, tripling during the recent Tet holiday. In 2025, we plan to train at least 10,000 Vietnamese businesses with deeper and longer training programs, lasting 3 to 6 months, where we guide them step by step. According to the Ministry of Industry and Trade, the challenges for domestic products include the low production capacity, weak product quality, poor branding, and high transportation cost. We are increasing our monitoring of e-commerce market to stop fake copied, and low-quality goods on the e-commerce store. Recently, the government stopped the tax exemption for imported goods under 1 million Vietnam dong Central Express delivery services. At the same time, the policy to reduce VAT to 80% for domestic goods and services is still in place. These measures have created fair competition between the local and imported products and support domestic manufacturing.
For long-term e-commerce development, the Ministry of Industry and Trade is drafting an e-commerce law to keep up with the rapid growth of the sector, aiming to create a fair competitive environment for both domestic and imported products. Globally, many countries have already developed e-commerce laws such as Malaysia, Cambodia, Philippines, Hungary, Romania, Macedonia, Iceland, Malta, Luxembourg, Iran, and China. Basically, these countries have recognized the legal validity of electronic data messages to ensure a secure legal environment for e-commerce activities. Some other countries have not enacted a specific e-commerce law, but they have issued separate regulation for the sector. For instance, the European Commission issued an e-commerce directive in 2000, and more recently, the Digital Service Act. Indonesia issued regulations on e-commerce and businesses licensing for digital advertising to guide and monitor e-commerce businesses through electronic system. On the other hand, some countries have developed laws related to e-commerce from the perspective of consumer, aiming to build consumer trust and promote healthy and sustainable growth. In Japan, there is a law to protect consumer shopping on digital platforms. South Korea passed a law to protect consumer in e-commerce. India issued e-commerce regulation in 2020 under the Consumer Protection Act 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, with a highly open market and deep participation of foreign sellers and e-commerce platforms, offering cheaper goods and advanced logistics networks, it is necessary to form a tighter legal framework that fits the new context in order to encourage new business models while ensuring fair competition with domestic products.